Hello, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to the News International edition on this 12th day of January 2023. We are broadcasting to you live from our Vision Group headquarters here in Kampala, Uganda. I'm Emma Akwero. Now let's start off our news with news coming from Kabul that a number of bodies are shown scattered across the street outside of Afghanistan's foreign ministry after a suicide bomber detonated an explosive in the area. Views from inside the Ministry of Information, which sits opposite the Foreign Ministry, can be seen. The blast happened on the street between both ministries.
The Islamic State jihadist group claimed responsibility Wednesday for a suicide bombing outside the Foreign Ministry in Kabul that officials and witnesses said killed at least 5 people and wounded 40 others. An IS member slipped by Taliban security barriers before blowing up his explosive belt in the middle of employees and guards, the Amaq news agency of the local chapter of Islamic State said on the Telegram messaging app. An AFP team was conducting an interview inside the information ministry next door when Wednesday's blast took place. A company driver waiting outside saw a man holding a bag and with a rifle slung over his shoulder walk past before the man blew himself up. Kabul police spokesperson Khalid Zedran said 5 civilians were killed and several more wounded by the blast. The local IS branch, known as Islamic State Khorasan (ISK), claimed that the blast killed at least 20 people, including several diplomatic employees. Italian non-government organization Emergency NGO, which operates a hospital in Kabul, said it received more than 40 wounded people. Casualty numbers are continuing to rise, Emergency said in a statement. We have also set up beds in the kitchens and canteen. Bodies lay strewn on the road in the aftermath outside the high-walled compound of the ministry, marked with the Taliban flag, a video verified by AFP showed. IS has claimed a string of attacks that have targeted foreigners or foreign interests in recent months at a time when the Taliban is trying to attract investment from neighboring countries. At least 5 Chinese nationals were wounded last month when gunmen stormed a hotel popular with Chinese business people in Kabul.
Now, tens of thousands of people were under evacuation orders in California on Tuesday as the state was ravaged by the latest in a barrage of storms that have left at least 17 people dead. Torrential downpours have caused flash flooding, closed key highways, toppled trees, and even swept away drivers and passengers, including a 5-year-old boy who still remains missing in Central California. Scientists say human-caused climate change brought about by the unchecked burning of fossil fuels has supercharged such wild winds in the recent weather.
California received 18 centimeters of rain on Wednesday, the National Weather Service said, after tens of thousands of people were placed under evacuation orders due to a barrage of storms that killed at least 17 people. California Governor Gavin Newsom said at least 34,000 people had been told to flee the storms, with more danger expected.
Expect these storms to continue at least through the 18th of this month. We expect a minimum 3 more of these atmospheric rivers in different shapes and forms, depending on different parts of the state.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says evacuation is ongoing. On Tuesday, torrential downpours caused flash flooding, closed key highways, toppled trees, and swept away drivers and passengers, including a 5-year-old boy who remains missing in Central California.
I stand here at this moment, it's around 34,000 people that are currently under evacuation orders. That number is dynamic and will change. 163,000 people as of a few moments ago still without power in this state, and obviously that will change depending on conditions. The biggest factor as it relates to those conditions is wind. You can see all up and down the state, and we've traveled all up and down the state. The wind being a disproportionate factor in terms of down power lines, impacts obviously on trees.
Around 66,000 homes and businesses in the most populous U.S. state were without power early on Wednesday, according to tracking site poweroutage.us. Newsom says orders have to be taken seriously.
The challenge now is one should not be misled. The acuity of the storms in terms of the number of inches of rain and the intensity doesn't tell the entire story. We're soaked. This place is soaked. and now just more modest amount of precipitation could have as equal or greater impact in terms of the conditions on the ground. And that's why it's incredibly important that everybody is mindful to take seriously the orders or recommendations coming from law enforcement.
The new storm will hit Northern California and is forecast to bring several more feet of snow to the Sierra Nevada mountains, the National Weather Service said. Dominic King, a beach owner, says it's a lot worse than expected. Business people say it's truly devastating.
A lot worse than expected. All my windows in the back were completely blown out. All my tables were kind of strewn around. My floors were obviously ruined, and our floors had kind of warped. So I guess the waves came up from under the building and pushed up the floors.
I can imagine it's pretty devastating. There was lots of tears that day. I was down here while it was happening. My husband FaceTimed me as it was happening, and I just said I can't. I just show me afterwards. And all we can do, we were prepared.
The National Weather Service described an unrelenting series of atmospheric river events that is the most powerful storm system since 2005. These storms come as much of the western United States is more than 2 decades into a punishing drought that has seen major increases in the frequency and intensity of wildfires.
Haitians seeking to escape from poverty and despair are flocking to the main immigration office in the capital, Port-au-Prince, hoping to get a passport and perhaps their ticket to life in America under a new U.S. immigration program. Under the policy announced by the President Joe Biden, the United States will accept 30,000 people per month from Haiti and a handful of other countries mired in crisis, including Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, but on condition they stay away from the overcrowded U.S. borders of Mexico and should arrive by plane.
Haitians seeking to escape from poverty and despair are flocking to the government offices, hoping to get a passport and perhaps their ticket to life in America under a new U.S. immigration program. At the main migration office in Port-au-Prince, the crowd is so big that security officers keep the metal gates closed and only let in one by one. I never wanted to go to the United States because I am a businesswoman and I believe in business. I will try my luck like the others, because if they have an opportunity, I will too. I have family in the United States, 4 sisters who are American citizens, and 13 nieces and nephews who are also American citizens. Under the new policy announced by President Joe Biden, the United States will accept 30,000 people per month from Haiti and a handful of other countries mired in crisis, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, but on condition they stay away from the overcrowded U.S. border with Mexico and arrive by plane. That is why I am here today, to collect my passport and my child's passport, which should have been delivered to us long ago. I live in a country that is not functioning, where people are not respected and young people are not valued, but I will not betray my country. I will always remain Haitian, and that does not change anything about my personality. But as a young person, I have a future. To qualify for this program, candidates must also have a sponsor in the United States who can show sufficient income to support them. Pierre Ida says despite the offer, he does not encourage young people to leave the country, although he acknowledges the shortcomings of the Haitian government. I don't push other young people to leave the country, but I had to make a rational decision because I want a better future. I have a family and I have responsibilities. I want a better life. I have a life ahead of me and I am educated. I have not yet received the services that I need. I have been waiting. You already know the reality of our country. This is what we have as a problem. As long as there are no drastic measures to respect human value and dignity, there will always be this crowd in front of the Haitian immigration office. Because they want to live in another society where human dignity is respected. People applying for a passport in Haiti must buy a stamp that costs the equivalent of about $50, a fortune in the poorest country in the Americas. But the application process is painfully slow and riddled with corruption, so people eager to get a passport more quickly often pay twice the standard fee to specialized agencies to cut through all the red tape.
The News International edition will now take a short break, but please stay with us.